You booked the flight to Manila because a woman in Davao told you she was falling in love with you after 11 days of messages. You have her photo saved on your phone, the one in the white dress in front of the church, and you have looked at it more times than you would ever admit to your friends back home. You think you are flying into a country full of options. You are not. Out of every woman you will walk past in that arrivals hall, only three types will ever seriously date a man like you. The rest sorted you out of their life before your plane even landed, and they were polite enough that you never noticed. Let me show you which three and which one is sitting across from you at that mall coffee shop right now. The first thing you need to understand is that the filter was applied before you arrive. You believe you chose her. You did not. You were placed into a category within the first week of messages, and everything that has happened since has been her behaving according to that category. Before we continue, please subscribe to my channel so you won't miss any videos in the future. In the Philippines, a woman does not make a dating decision alone. It passes through her mother, her older sister, the barkada, and at least one tita who has an opinion about everything and has never once been wrong in her own mind. This is not a woman with poor boundaries. This is a culture where the family is the decision making unit and a man is not a private matter. Foreign men miss this completely because in your country, dating is two individuals negotiating in private. You think if you charm her, you have won. In her world, you are being assessed by a committee that you will not meet for another 3 months, and she is the spokesperson, not the judge. He sits across from her in the Jollibee in Cebu and thinks the date is going beautifully. Her cousin is 2 tables away, pretending to scroll her phone. Before he has paid the bill, 3 women in her family have already voted, and the verdict arrived on a group chat he will never see. So, stop performing only for her. Ask about her family early. Remember the names. Ask how her mother is doing without being asked to. That is not being clingy. That is you passing the actual interview. You thought you were dating her. You were auditioning for her family. The first type who will date you is the family anchor. She is usually the eldest daughter or the one who became the eldest when things went wrong. And she has been financially responsible for other people since she was 19. Utang na loob is not a debt she resents. It is the structure of her entire identity, and you are entering a life that already has dependence in it. Here is what foreigners get wrong. You look at her and see a woman who might want your money. What is actually in front of you is a woman who has been sending money home since long before you existed, and who is now measuring whether you will make that easier or harder. She is not calculating how much she can take. She is calculating how much she will have to hide. She tells you on the third date that her mother's roof leaks in the rainy season. She does not ask you for anything. She says it, then changes the subject and asks whether you have tried Halo Halo. You think it was small talk, it was a test. And notice what she did not do. She did not cry, she did not escalate, she did not name a figure. She dropped one true sentence and watched your face. Because in her world, a man who cannot be told a small problem cannot be trusted with a large one. What you should do is answer it directly and early. Say what you are willing to do and what you are not, with a number, out loud, before you are emotionally committed. She will respect a clear no far more than a vague yes that quietly turns into resentment in year two. And if you do give it as a decision you made, not as something you were pulled into. Because a man who gives while feeling robbed will punish her for it later in 100 small ways. She was not asking you for money. She was checking whether you were listening. The second type is the believer. She goes to mass on Sunday. She has been raised on courtship rather than dating, and when she says forever, she is not being dramatic. She is using the only word her culture gave her for what she wants. Ligaw is a courtship system where the man pursues visibly, publicly, and with the family watching, and it does not have a casual setting. The mechanism you are missing is this. In your country, moving fast is a red flag because fast usually means someone wants something. In hers, moving fast is sincerity. Hesitation is the insult. When you slow down to protect yourself, she does not read caution. She reads a man who is keeping his options open, and she withdraws while smiling at you. 2 weeks in, she calls you her husband in a message. You panic, you go quiet for a day, you compose something careful about taking things slowly. She replies with one word, kindly, and something in her closes that you will not be able to reopen with a longer message. And understand what she is risking that you are not. When she tells her family about you, she is spending her own reputation in a town where everybody knows everybody on a man they have not met and cannot verify. If it collapses, you fly home and nobody in your city ever hears about it. She stays and she hears about it at every birthday party for the next 5 years. If you meet this type, decide quickly whether you can match her sincerity. If you can, say so plainly. If you cannot, tell her before the third month, not after she has told her mother about you. She did not fall in love too fast. You just came from a country that taught you to call it a warning sign. The third type is the independent one, and she is the one most foreign men claim they want and then quietly run from. She works the graveyard shift in a call center in Ortigas, or she is a nurse, or she spent 6 years in Dubai and came home with savings and a condo deposit. For her, an OFW year abroad is not a sad story. It is a qualification, and she has already survived worse than you. The psychology here is uncomfortable. When a woman does not need your money, the only thing you can offer is yourself. And many men over 60 have spent 30 years being valued for what they provide rather than who they are. She removes the scoreboard you know how to win on. That is why men chase her and then complain that she is difficult. She meets you at 7 in the morning after a night shift, orders her own coffee, and pays for it before your hand reaches your pocket. He tells that story later as if she embarrassed him. She was telling him she is not for sale, and he heard an insult. If this is the one you are meeting, change what you bring to the table. Stability, patience, calm, a life she can join rather than a wallet she can lean on. And when the relationship turns physical, understand that her private side opens on her schedule, not on the timeline you saw in a video. The woman who does not need your money is the one most foreign men cannot handle. Be honest. Has this happened to you? Now let me tell you about the fourth type, the one you keep chasing, the one who will never actually date you. She is beautiful. She is 26. She replies at exactly the right pace. And she has been chatting with you for 7 months without ever being in the same room as you. There is a whole informal economy built around the maintenance chat, and it does not require anyone to lie about a single fact. Foreign men misread this because they think a scam means fake photos and a fake name. This is not that. She is real, the photos are hers, the affection in the messages is not entirely performed. But you are one of several, you are the reliable one, and she has no plan to change a situation that works perfectly as it is. She sends good morning every day for 7 months. He books the flight, he tells his brother about her, he buys a shirt he would not normally buy. 4 days before he lands, there is a family emergency in the province, and she is so sorry and she will make it up to him next time. And here is the detail that should have told you months ago. She has never once been inconvenienced by you. Let me be honest with you. If you're a good man, over 50, and you feel invisible back home, the Philippines might just be the best thing that ever happens to you. But only if you do it right. David, 61, from Manchester, England, spent 3 lonely years after his divorce, convinced his best days were behind him. Then he found My Philippines Dating Playbook. 6 months later, he met Rosa. Warm, genuine, and crazy about him. Last month, they got engaged. David isn't special. He just stopped guessing and finally understood how Filipinas actually think. I'm Marian, and in How to Make Any Filipina Want You, I show you exactly how. The mindset that makes you attractive here, where to meet real women, and how to spot the ones who only want your wallet. Your second chance is waiting. You can find the link in the description and the pinned comment. Check it out. No argument, no bad mood, no boring Tuesday, no moment where she needed something from you that was not money. Real women are occasionally difficult. A relationship with no friction is not a good relationship, it is a service. The rule is simple and it will save you thousands. A woman who will not meet you in person within a reasonable window of you being in her country is not your girlfriend, no matter how warm the messages are. Reduce her to what she is and move your attention. She is not your girlfriend. You are her most reliable subscriber. Before we continue, please subscribe to my channel so you won't miss any videos in the future. Now, let me correct the other side because this does not only go one way. Filipinas carry real responsibility in these relationships too. And the most common failure is not greed, it is silence. Haya is the fear of shame, and it makes an honest woman hide an ordinary fact until the ordinary fact becomes a lie. Here is the mechanism. She does not tell him she sends money home every month, not because she is deceiving him, but because saying it out loud feels like begging, and begging is humiliating. So she pays quietly out of what he gives her or out of her own salary and calls it nothing. Then the amount grows. Then he finds the transfer receipts. Month 9, he opens a banking app on the shared tablet and sees a transfer to a name he does not recognize. She has been sending $200 a month to her brother's tuition since the beginning. He does not hear a daughter supporting her family. He hears 8 months of concealment, and he is not entirely wrong. And there is a second thing she owes him, which is a clear signal when something changes. If her father gets sick, if the amount doubles, if a sibling loses a job, that is not a private matter she absorbs quietly out of love. That is information he needs in the week it happens, in plain words. So, this is what she should do, and I will say it plainly. Name the obligation in the first month, say the number, say who it goes to and why, and say it before there is any emotional cost to saying it. A man who leaves over an honest number was never going to survive year 3 anyway. Haya protects her pride and destroys her relationship. That leads directly to the thing neither of you is doing, which is talking properly. Both of you are being polite in a way the other one cannot read, and both of you think you are being kind. Her okay lang and a Thai woman's kreng jai come from different roots, but they produce the same result for you, which is a woman who will absorb discomfort silently until she is gone. You ask if she is upset. She says it is fine, because in her world, saying it is not fine in that moment would create disharmony, and keeping the peace in the room is a genuine value, not an avoidance tactic. You take the words at face value because in your world, adults say what they mean. 3 weeks later, something small detonates and you have no idea what it was about because it was never about the small thing. He asks her twice whether she minded him inviting his friend along. She says it is okay both times. On the flight home, she barely speaks, and he spends the whole trip building a theory about the wrong problem. So, build a shared tool and use it as a couple, not as a demand from you. Agree on one phrase that means give me the real answer now, no politeness. She uses it on you too. You will both be bad at it for a month and grateful for it for a decade. In her language, silence is manners. In yours, silence is a warning. Someone has to do the translating, and it has to be both of you. Now, here is the comparison you have been making in your head anyway, because most of you watching me have looked at both countries. You landed in Manila and felt loved in 6 days. You landed in Bangkok and felt like you were being ignored for 6 weeks, and you decided Thai women were cold. The Thai version of interest is not warmth, it is quiet observation, Jayen, and a woman who will not show you her real feelings until she has decided you are worth the risk of showing them. Understand the difference in what you are being given. In the Philippines, you receive affection early, and you are expected to prove reliability afterwards. In Thailand, you receive very little early, and the affection arrives after you have already proved it. Neither one is more honest. But if you judge one country by the timeline of the other, you will misread both of them completely. He spends 3 weeks in Cebu being called love and honey, then flies to Chiang Mai and meets a woman who does not text first, does not gush, and takes a month to sit close to him. He concludes she does not like him. She had already told her sister about him in week 2. So, when you compare at the same point in time, judge the Filipina at month 12, not week 1. Judge the Thai woman at month 12, not week 1. That is the only fair measurement, and it is the one almost no man makes. The Filipina gives you everything fast, the Thai woman gives you everything that lasts. One last thing, and it is the one that decides whether any of this works. You have to know which type you actually want, and most men over 60 have never asked themselves the question honestly. Whether it is a Filipina or a Thai woman, the family will be part of the arrangement, and you are not marrying an individual in the way you did the first time. Here's the trap. Men say they want the independent one, then feel useless. Men say they do not want obligations, then choose the eldest daughter because she is warm and capable and reminds them of being needed. You are not choosing with your stated preferences. You are choosing with the part of you that wants to matter again, and there is nothing shameful in that as long as you know it is happening. He tells me he wants a simple, quiet woman with no complications. 6 weeks later, he is paying for a niece's school shoes and a nephew's motorbike repair, and he is happier than he has been in 10 years, and slightly confused about it. So, decide before you fly. Write down what you can give financially, emotionally, and in terms of years, and be honest about the number. Then choose the type that matches it instead of choosing the prettiest one and hoping the arithmetic sorts itself out. The problem was never which type of woman you met, it was that you never decided which type of man you were bringing. So, this is what you now know that you did not know 20 minutes ago. Only 3 types will genuinely date you. A fourth type will happily bill you forever, and the difference between them is visible within the first month if you stop being flattered long enough to look. The women are not confusing. The timelines are. And once you can read the timeline, you stop being the man who gets surprised at month 9. Before you go, If you're serious about finding real love in the Philippines, I've put everything I know into one honest guide: how to make any Filipina want you. The mindset, where to meet genuine women, the green flags, the red flags, all of it. It's the playbook I wish every good man had before he came here. Grab your ebook in the description or in the pinned comment, and I'll see you there.